Star Fox on the Switch too. Great game. Oh man, it takes me back and I can almost like prove that it did. So, I don't know if you guys remember, but like I think it was either after the Star Fox or the Mario movie or before it or something. Anyway, I started playing Star Fox 64. This was before the announcements of Star Fox coming out. So I was in that sort of organic headspace playing Star Fox 64 because it was one of my favorite games as a kid and I hadn't played it in a while. Well, and it's funny because it's not necessarily true. Every once in a while, I would jump into the Nintendo Online Store and jump into either the SNES Star Fox or Star Fox 64. So what was interesting, like when I jump into especially 64, I get ingrained in, or the loop gets ingrained into my mind. The whole you play each stage maybe multiple times, trying to get the high score, trying to get all the secrets, everything else. And it's a fun thing. You play through the game, you start over again, choose different paths, etc. Um, the thing with playing this, it's like the same thing, and that's what like clicked with me immediately. This new Star Fox on Switch, it has that same core loop to it. There's just more around it that I think helps. For instance, when you're playing the other Star Fox games, you're playing the levels over and over again, and that's fine. This one, because it adds a little bit more cinematic flair to it, especially with the designs, the CG. I say CG, but the modern graphical improvements done of the Star Fox team, and the dialogue and the talking. I feel more immersed in that world. So when a level starts and you hear the cool music, when the level ends and you hear that badass end music, it connects everything together, and I really feel like I'm a part of this thing. And I think that's what Star Fox does really well. Nintendo does that really well, is immersion into the atmosphere and the storytelling of the experience. So I think it was neat that since 1997, while I'd played Star Fox 64 on and off, it was earlier this year that I spent more time with it to really realize, yeah, I really like the gameplay loop. This is very fun to me. This takes me back. And the new one then had that same feeling. And I wasn't even, and this is when I didn't even know they were going to come out with a new one. And that's why I say, for me, awesome personal experience that I was able to personally prove to myself that, yeah, Star Fox is still as awesome as it was back in the day. Um, you know, uh, I think it's funny because part of it is like, well, it's all the same thing. It's like, yeah, but with these new graphics, it's just that much more fun to play in what is tried and true gameplay. Even if it's on rails and shooting, you still have so much agency over where and what you're shooting. So you do have full control, and especially to get the secrets, to make sure your allies don't get shot down, to shoot as many enemies as you can to get the medals at the end. That is so fun. It feels so rewarding when you go through and do all that. Um, so I have, according to Exophase, I've played 8 hours and 16 minutes. That would be maybe, I don't know how many playthroughs, more than 4. Because, each time there's the different routes. And not only are there the different routes, but there's like multiple. I haven't even done all the combinations yet. But also the way you do the route, do you beat the boss before Slippy gets knocked to the other planet, or do you let him get knocked to the other planet, so then you choose to go and rescue him so you're at the other level? There's a lot of neat things that you can think about around just playing the game. And I think that's what my brain likes. It likes all that strategizing and thinking I can do. But it's funny how much I don't like. Just a recent example, the Gundam Crossfire on PS3, Target and Sight and other territories, where it has between levels like days pass, and you have to. That's how you manufacture mobile suits or play. And that's a little. I gotta jump back into that because I think I'd love that. But I like when there is a kind of a bunch of meta in terms of the mechanics. So that was just the main campaign I was talking about. Outside of campaign, there is challenge mode, which is actually pretty fun because it's just the regular normal levels, except, and you could choose any level to go to at any time, which I like. You could choose any level to go to at any time, and then there's just a number of challenges, like shoot this many enemies, shoot all of this. perform maybe a barrel roll at a certain point, upgrade your lasers all the way. There's little things, right? Or destroy 8 asteroids before the first asteroid tunnel. Like that's a very level specific one. And that's actually fun. It actually adds more to it as I'm, again, what I was talking about before. Being immersed in the atmosphere of Star Fox, the music, the mood, the characters, that allows me to replay over and over because what they've done there is so fun. It is me being in a new experience. So with the challenge mode, it's another way to play all the levels. And then once you beat them, once you beat all the challenges, it unlocks the expert mode to play through all the challenges. I haven't done that yet. And then there's the battle mode, which this is really cool. I think there's only 2 levels right now, maybe 3, but it's basically the all range mode. And it's like 4v4 capture the flag style stuff. It's really good. I do want to play it more. I played the bot battle, which is awesome that's an option where you can just, so the game gives you an option if you don't want to play in the standard levels. You could just jump into a map, even though there's only a few right now. Hopefully there's more, and then just go around and battle. But then you can go online that way, which is awesome. I've played online, very fun, very challenging for people that, if you already understand the game, like I've jumped in, there's people that were just destroying me when I started. And then there's another aspect to this that's interesting, and there's 2 things here. The multiplayer. So I haven't had a chance to play the multiplayer because at first I thought it was literally like split screen 2 characters, but it's actually not that. And so it was like one person flies, one person shoots, and I think both. Oh, no. At the time, I had my Joy-Cons, they're not plugged into the Switch. Instead, I have Nixie, it's another brand, Joy-Con controllers plugged in. So my actual Joy-Cons were dead, but I needed those to do the co-op because my brother was hanging out with me at the time, and so we didn't get to do that. And then I asked my wife, this was this weekend, and I explained to her how it would work, and that seemed a little too much for her, so that didn't happen. So I still want to do some multiplayer because what I've learned is you can actually have a Switch 1 and you could do game share on a Switch 1. If I heard that correctly, and if that is the case, I'm gonna have to test that out. The other thing that's interesting here is the control mode with the mouse. Now, that's basically taking the Switch Joy-Con and then turning it down. And you guys have maybe heard about this. Metroid allows for this, which I want to try that a little more now that I've tried Star Fox. And you have a little contraption you plug on the bottom of the Joy-Con that gives it the strap, but that's also the surface area it needs to do the mouse movement. Mouse controls are so fun, but here is a weird issue. You can't invert the mouse controls. The reason I find that interesting is because by default, Star Fox is an inverted flight game. That was one of the early games when I've talked on here about why I play everything inverted. I didn't realize Star Fox was one of the reasons why. I was citing things like the Dreamcast because the games were inverted on there. Let's see, what was another example? I think there's other N64 games that are an example. PC, I remember, playing X-Wing on PC. I think that was the first one. But things are just always inverted. When you play Star Fox, this new one, and you're in the training mode, it tells you how to aim, and then it asks if you want to invert. Now, it's asking you if you want to invert the inversion, because the game automatically inverts for you. You can go into the options and turn it off. But I just find it fun that like you're playing, it's up down. Hey, do you want to invert? And it's like, well, I don't play I do, but I would think people play. Well, I don't play inverted, and then I don't know. But anyway, what I'm getting at is when you switch to the mouse mode, there is no option for inverting it, and that's how I play. I play Star Fox inverted, like everyone by default. So it's weird that the mouse isn't inverted. Instead, the mouse is just 1-to-1 up, down. Very strange that happened. Other than making content to talk about it, I don't think that's really going to get to Nintendo. I might make a support ticket for that or see if there's anyone else online I could reach out to and ask, because I do think it's odd that by default, Star Fox is inverted on the joystick and you have to turn off the inversion, but the mouse, isn't inverted by default, and there is no inversion. Yet the training mode asks you if you want to invert. It's the controls. So there's so much of the controls legacy of controls that has kind of been botched here, which I find strange. I could be missing something. Hopefully, I am. But anyway, so the mouse thing is my one complaint, and it's kind of a big one just because I enjoyed playing mouse mode, but I am so used to inversion that as I am going up and down, sometimes especially in intense situations, my muscle memory I'll press up to go down to dodge something, but I'll just go up and hit it. And I'm like, no, I need to invert. Oh, I can't invert. Fuck. And so it's like, here's the thing. A lot of the challenges later on for this Star Fox game are going to be easier with the mouse controls. And I do like how, for when I was locked in and able to uninvert my mind, I had fun doing that because it's first person still. And it's like, it reminds me of back in the day when I was on Star Wars The Ride. That was one of the earliest experiences. Was that Disney? One of the earliest experiences of like being able to experience being in a craft that's moving. And then movies would do that over time too. But definitely Star Fox nails that. But hopefully they fix that. Anything else I need to add about Star Fox? No, I just think it is really good. And it's one of those things like, oh, well, let's get a new game. But one, would they just make it Star Fox like, where it's the arcade like levels? Or would they do something that has more like all range mode levels? I don't know. And that could be why they're always recreating, repeating. Now I got to watch for my wife to come up with the coffee. That's probably why they're always recreating and repeating what they've done with Star Fox since the SNES, is because that stuff works. I think if they sat down, spent their time like creating a new campaign, new levels, new alternate paths, that would be fun. And maybe even do something where there's more all range mode sections. Like make it where that happens more often, because it happened, on the first level at the boss of the first level. And then after that, it's just sporadic. But I wonder if there's a way that they can do that. And maybe that's what they need to do. I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do. I think, though, by pressing the select button, I forget what it's really called. There's the plus and minus to put you in the cockpit mode. That is very much Star Fox Zero like. So I could see them porting Star Fox Zero. Maybe that is what they end up doing next. But I will say, as fun as, and I'm just thinking in my head, as fun as I'm having with Star Fox, I would like to see some more maps. I hope that's something they plan to do. And then just thinking again, this game was $50. That's a really good, typical old school price for a game. And a game like this with the production value and everything, it's definitely worth it. So, you know what? That reminds me, actually. Let's go to my gaming command center. And let's see. If I go to, Game of the Year tracker, have I already put Star Fox in this list? No. So then what I think I will do is, actually I have to put it here. So Star Fox. And it's just called Star Fox. Add that. But then click on beat. You guys might not saw that, but now it's added to my list of games that I beat this year and to rank. I'm gonna say I like it. Oh, I have to change this. I like it better than Crimson Desert. Crimson Desert, better value in terms of there's so much you could do in that game. But I think that's the difference between something like Star Fox and Crimson Desert, is Star Fox for me is a very focused experience that I can jump in, know what I want to do, get going.